what would Regina George's thoughts be on About Time?
I guess I hope she would think it was fetch, but, you know, she doesn't use that word liberally, so, you know, you never know.
I can't argue with that.
My name is Tim, and this is the year that would change my life forever.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! I just didn't know it yet.
Tim, my dear son, this is going to sound strange, but there's this family secret that the men in the family can travel in time.
This is such a weird joke.
It's not a joke.
If it's true, which it isn't.
Although it is.
But if it was, which it's not.
Which it is.
How would I actually...
You go into a dark place, clench your fists, think of the moment you're going to, and you'll find yourself there.
Happy New Year!
It's going to be a complicated year.
It's going to be a complicated life.
Rachel, let's chat.
Okay.
Okay, so we have The Notebook, The Vow, About Time. Do you like making me cry? Do you like people to cry?
It's what I live for. It's so funny because I'm always like, I love crying. Technically, I love crying in films, but I always shy away from those films. And then I'm always so glad when I've watched them. But it's hard to sit down and know you're about to watch a movie that's gonna make you cry, you know? But because they can stay with you for so long. I remember the first time I went, did you ever see The Thornbirds?
Oh, yeah.
I was too young.
That's taking it back.
That's taking it back. But that's one of those ones I remember I walked around in like a depression for like 4 days. But I loved it. Yeah. So, yeah, and I love films with great love stories in them. You know, whenever there's a film that's sort of missing that element of love, it doesn't even have to be romantic love. It's always sort of missing a little piece for me.
So obviously time travel is a big part in this film. If you could go back in time, what part of your life would you not want to relive? What would you want to avoid and stay far away from?
I mean, I think the obvious one is high school. Yeah.
What kind of girl were you in high school? You were a cool girl in high school, really?
I mean, don't all actors say, no, I was a nerd, I was a loser. Yeah, I think that's the thing of, you know, no, I was not cool.
Could have fooled me. Obviously, another part of this film is a huge relationship with the father figure. Did this make you think about your relationship with your own dad or with, you know, dads in general?
Yeah, yeah, and with your family, you know, I think it really is the kind of movie I've heard so many people say, you know, they walk out of the movie theater and they just want to call their mom or have a cuddle with their boyfriend or whatever it is, you know. I think it's one of those movies that's really powerful that way. You feel a little differently coming out of it than when you go in, and it makes you look at your life a little different.
If you were going to go back in time and not relive a specific moment in your life, what would that moment be and why?
If I were not going to relive it, hang on, I have to get my head around this. I'm not very good at time travel. You mean if I went back just to relive it, just to be in it?
Yeah,
or
or
not
like
change it?
Yeah.
Not change it?
Yeah.
Just something, what would I go back and do? Oh, God. I would probably go back. There would be family stuff, my daughter growing up, probably around bedtime when they become so entertaining because they're frightened of going to sleep. Be some of those that I've collected in my mind. There's certain holidays I was on. There were moments, I tell you what, every first night in the theater I ever did, the moment when the curtain comes down and they start to clap, I'd be very happy there, because I'm not incredible. I'm not famous for happiness, but I'm really good at relief. Do you know what I mean? And that's as near as I get sometimes. It's just, you know, you do something really scary and then apparently it's okay and it's over.
You know, obviously the father-son relationship in this movie is huge. What kind of relationship did you have with your own father?
I was lucky that I had a very decent father, not unlike the man in the film. He was a very quiet, reserved man, principled man, who I thought was, you know, I invented him in my teenagers wrong and, you know, uninteresting, and it turned out that everything he ever told me was correct. He never told me anything that wasn't correct. He was a very, very remarkable man, and he was incredible, and he was principled. He believed certain things and he lived accordingly, and he was kind, and I was incredibly fortunate, and I miss him like anything.
For me, it was always going to be all about love. I'm Tim.
I'm Mary.
It's my mother's name.
I remind you of your mother.
Obviously, I should have thought this through more.
Could you give me 1 second?
I'm Tim.
I'm Mary.
I love your eyes.
Do you?
I love the rest of your face, too. I haven't even looked further down, but I'm sure it's all fantastic. I'm sure it'll be better next time.
Well done. Some people make a real mess of it the first time.
Amateurs. Some days you want to relive forever. Will you marry me?
I think I'll go for yes.
Now, I know you're a music fan. Today we lost a huge, great Lou Reed.
You're kidding.
Yes, he passed away today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'm just wondering if you liked his music, if you listened to his music, and why kind of musicians could inspire you as a performer.
Yeah, that's very sad. He was great. Yeah, that's a real loss. I love Lou Reed's music, and it's funny. I'm working with, having worked with Richard, he's very, he's really into music for the film, and he had so many things planned out ahead of time, and shared those with Donal and I, and it's such a gift because it helps you understand the tone that the director's going for and what's coming from their heart. Like, music is such a language that you can share and you can feel together without having to articulate it. So I find that's always so helpful, and I'm now working with Cameron Crowe, who does something similar, and sometimes I think a scene has this flavor, and he'll put on like banjo music, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see where we're going with this. So it can be such a great tool, for communication between a cast and the director.
Now, I know that you are a huge rock and roll fan.
Yep.
Today we lost Lou Reed.
I know.
Did you ever get to meet him? Your thoughts on his music, influential to you?
Deeply influential. I love his music. I think he's written some of the greatest songs in my lifetime, some of the funniest, wittiest lines ever written by anyone. He was a great poet, great rhythm and blues poet. I loved his band. I loved that whole guitar sound. I thought it was really witty. I loved the way he kept it simple. He was a great, great artist. I hate that he's dead, and my thoughts go out to his family.
Did you ever get to meet him, or did you?
No, I was in a restaurant once, and he walked in wearing a black leather jacket. Guess what? And he looked about the coolest man in the world, but I never got to meet him. But it's one of those. I wasn't prepared for it. It's one of those. He's a very big figure. You get to my age, and your heroes are, my age or older, and you know that at some point someone's going to say these things. And you're aware of it. There's several people I don't want to have them die, and he was one of them. And there is now a Lou Reed-shaped hole in the world.
Your relationship with Richard sparked. It's been, how many years have you guys known each other?
I think it's 10 years now.
Why does that relationship work between you and him? Why do you two get each other so much?
Well, I don't know the answer. I was about to speculate, to be sociable. I don't truly know the answer, except that I like him very much, and I admire him very much. I admire him not just because he makes cool movies and gives me great parts, and basically changed my professional life with Love Actually, but also because I like the way he conducts himself. He's endlessly courteous and funny. And going to work with Richard is a pleasant thing. There is no pain. He arranges for there to be no pain, which is kind of rare. And I do like the fact that he wants to promote that which is good about people. That's something we do have in common. And I do attempt as someone who has a kind of sometimes violent negative tendency, I've had to kind of really discipline myself to try and be positive. Most days, and I do, and I have good days and bad days like everybody else, and he's involved in that too. So I think maybe that's some part of the connection.
It never occurred to me that I might lose you.
I never said you could fix everything, not without consequences.
It's so good to see you.
We've never met before.
Oh no, what do I do?
You have to use it to make your life the way you want it to be.
I never know what the future holds, just like everyone else.
Time catches up to all of us, my son.
My dad. I've tried to live every day as if it was the final day of my extraordinary, ordinary life.
I hope I see you again.
You will. My whole life depends on it.